Shrekin. Still keep on Shrekin, gang. Here's the Daniel Ehrenberg D-Train situation going on. Henry over there on the GSP South in New Jersey. And Tim, Shut Up Tim's not here, but he certainly paid us money to watch these movies. Movie and whatever the fuck the second thing is.
Yes, that is for sure. Welcome, everybody. It is episode 242. 242, man.
Yeah, is that significant to you somehow?
No, I just thought
Jackie Robinson's number plus 200.
Yeah. I just felt like I like pausing occasionally to make people think it's significant.
Yeah. It's a good tactic, man. It makes it seem like this is a big episode, but this is a small episode.
Very small. It's a small episode. Yes.
We're covering like basically between the two movies we watched, I would say we watched 75% of a movie.
Hey, I was a dedicated viewer of Puss in Boots. I watched it from beginning to end.
Oh, so did I. I'm just saying maybe the creators didn't finish it. But Puss in Boots we're talking about today, the Shrek spin-off with Antonio Banderas, and also Shrek the Musical, which was a Broadway musical. It ran for about 13 months, like the length of my average relationship, and it's not on Broadway anymore. Nothing is on Broadway anymore, but especially not this.
I don't even, when this ran, I was living in New York. I don't even remember this being on Broadway. Were there signs for this shit?
Yeah, but I remember it being like a joke, like Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark or something. Like it was like pretty much understood that this thing was going to close in a few months.
Okay. Spider-Man one, I remember that vividly because that was just fucking everywhere, and I used to go to that big, Times Square theater, movie theater. I love that one. And
which one? Across the street from each other? The Regal and AMC competing?
Yeah, the AMC, yeah. The Regal I went to a few times, but the AMC, the massive 13-story.
Yeah, which one's attached to an Applebee's?
That one.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. That's a fun one. That's a good one.
Sure. Saw Sex and the City 2 there.
I saw. Yeah. That was a great theater. I probably don't know how it is now. Well, now forget it. But in the day, that was a great theater for skipping through and getting free movies.
You got to plan it ahead of time, though, my friend. Like the Union Square Theater, you could go upstairs, downstairs. Nobody gave a fuck. But in that theater, it has this long down escalator that doesn't really let you go back up ever. And so
that's true.
I would always have to plan it so that the earlier movies in the day were on the top floors and the later movies in the day were lower.
Did you ever use the back elevator?
Yeah, but I didn't like to because they were usually like employees there. I mean, I would in a clink, but
I use that all the time. That's what because no one's looking. There's no ushers. Great place. Nice tip for everybody.
Oh my god. Can't wait to get back to the theaters, gang. One of the best ways to watch movies.
Yeah.
Okay, Henry. Puss in Boots. Do you want to talk about
it? The Puss.
So this came out a year after. I mean, why would they do this? So, all right. Let's start over.
All right.
Puss in Boots. It's greenlit in the year 2004, okay? Right after Shrek 2 comes out. Shrek 2's the belle of the ball in Hollywood that year. Number one film of 2004. And they're like, the breakout character is Puss. We need to spin him off.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
So it's originally planned it's going to come out in 2008, a year after the third Shrek movie. And they were thinking originally straight to video. It was going to be called Puss in Boots, the story of an ogre killer.
Wow.
Okay? Then...
That's a little harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Jeffrey Katzenberg is like, these Shrek movies are making $1 billion for us. Why are we putting this shit out straight to video? Let's get a real director on it, Shrek the Third's Chris Miller, and we will put that shit out to the viewing public.
He's a smart man, that Katzenberg.
I know, Quibi, I think, proved that to us all.
Well, I mean, really, he knows how to make a buck.
Yeah, he did for a while. So he hires many writers to work on the movie, as you do. But ultimately, the film only has one screenwriting credit, a fella by the name of Tom Wheeler. Do you know this guy?
I'm looking at him. Looks like a great... Wow, I've never heard of this major NBC show he did.
Oh, I have. He I think I watched it when we were living together, frankly.
Really?
Yeah. All right. So this guy, he's just like a TV hack, like hanging out on writing staffs and shit. He sold a pilot in 2007. It didn't get picked up. But obviously his big credit is NBC's The Cape, the classic superhero show in which Keith David played a carnival barker who took the cape in as his mentor.
Oh, Keith David.
Keith David.
All right.
Yeah, it has some classic actors, including Vinnie Jones and Richard Schiff.
Wow.
Yeah,
talk about
from Firefly, James Frain hanging around as the villain, of course.
Some top and bottom of the spectrum there. Richard Schiff, the great Richard Schiff, and Vinnie Jones.
That's right, Richard Schiff, of course, torn to shreds in the best scene in the Lost World, Jurassic Park. So this fella, he writes the Puss in Boots as well. He's gone on to also create a Netflix show called Cursed. I think it's a YA show, but it is on Netflix, Henry. Have you seen it? I know that you will pretty much watch anything on Netflix.
Yeah, except YA series.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, co-created by Frank Miller. I didn't know that.
The Cape? I saw that too.
No, not The Cape. The Cape has nothing to do with Frank Miller.
Oh, sorry.
This new Netflix show, man.
Oh, all right. I saw he worked with Frank Miller. I didn't read on what.
I didn't know Frank Miller had a Netflix show. That's intriguing.
I don't know how Frank Miller gets through day-to-day life. I mean, from what I saw, I'm always amazed when I see he's still like an active human in any way.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I just picture him like hanging out in a bunker, doom scrolling Twitter.
He's a prepper.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
This dude also wrote the Lego Ninjago movie, which I guess we'll get to eventually.
Oh, boy.
And has a story credit on that recent live-action Dora the Explorer film.
Oh, wow. All right.
Which I hope we'll get to eventually. I hope they sequelize that.
Yeah, absolutely. Live-action Dora.
Yeah.
Come on, House.
Yeah. You know your Dora?
Everybody, let's go. Yeah. I had nieces.
Hey, Henry. Who's that behind you? Henry.
Is it Monkey?
No. Henry, who's that behind you? Oh, my God. I think he's trying to steal something from your backpack.
Gold?
No.
Compass?
Swiper, no swiping.
Oh, I just, yeah. No.
Motherfucker.
I know 2 lines from the show and the monkey.
I was impressed for a second, and then you fucked up.
Hey, I know Bob.
Hey, by the way, that animal has boots, too.
That's true.
This guy specializes in small, furry creatures with boots.
That's cute.
Yeah.
This thing.
All right, so we got director Chris Miller back, Henry. You excited to see him?
Yeah. I mean,
director of Shrek the Third and nothing else, of course.
Right. The direction.
Yeah, I found this Tim and Eric thing. All right. Tim Heidecker and Eric Wareheim, of course. Tim and Eric, awesome show, great job. Around 2007, they did a series of videos on the internet where they were like really going to bat promoting Shrek the Third for no reason. And I'd remembered the videos, but I thought there were like only a couple of them. And then I found a compilation yesterday or 2 days ago on the internet, and it was like 11 and a half minutes long, and so I sent it to Henry. And a lot of it is them talking about Chris Miller, the great filmmaker of these movies.
It's the greatest. It's one of the best things. It really made my day. I don't know if, the audience knows, overseas audience, or Tim and Eric, who they are. Fucking, I forgot how much we loved it. I mean, they're so fucking great. I saw them live in 2009. They're so great.
Twice.
You saw him twice?
Yeah.
All right. We didn't see him together though, right?
No.
You didn't. Okay. Yeah.
No. I went on like the next 2 times they were in New York. Yeah.
But you remember when I went?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wanted to go and I couldn't, but I know a bunch of you guys from the store went.
Yeah. Oh my God, they're so fucking genius. I ended up that night, dude. I ended up watching like 45 minutes of old Tim and Eric clips that were just I hadn't watched in a decade, and. Oh, they're fucking mad geniuses. They're so mean and so brilliant. And their Shrek thing, I had never seen those. I don't know how I had never seen those. And they're worth it. I don't particularly recommend them if you're big Shrek fans.
Shut up, Tim liked them.
Okay. All right. Yeah,
Listen, if you're a big Shrek fan, I mean, maybe I don't know this. Like, Shrek fans know that Shrek is terrible, right? Maybe they don't.
Yeah, I don't make that assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, like, we're having a good time talking about these Shrek movies.
Sure.
But, like, let's take a step back right now. They're horrible.
Hey, I gave a 3 to something.
Yeah, me too. But, like, I wouldn't, watch it.
No.
All right,
no,
Puss in Boots, Henry. This finally was released in theaters on October 28th, 2011. Weird that they would deviate from the that third week in May that they've done so well in.
Yeah, maybe for Halloween. You know, people could dress as the characters, go to the theater, make it an event.
Jesus Christ. If that's what they were hoping for, then, I mean, Katzenberg, we should have known Quibi would be a dismal failure if that's what he's counting on.
Tim and Eric went dressed.
They did. All right. A budget, Henry, of $130 million. Ultimately, wow. This was a huge hit. $555 million.
Yeah.
At the worldwide box office. It came at number 16 at the domestic box office, right there between Kung Fu Panda 2 and X-Men First Class.
Oh, all right. And right after Shame, Tree of Life.
No, those didn't make money. Kung Fu Panda we got to cover, man. I saw that first Kung Fu Panda in theaters.
Okay.
I remember seeing ads for that movie being like, Jack Black's a karate panda? That sounds good.
Yeah, I remember seeing those same ads and swiping left.
Swiping left. Look at this guy. I've changed his whole vernacular.
Yeah, it's true.
All right. This film was nominated for some awards. I'm sorry to say.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
They all are. The awards. Hey, after being snubbed by the Oscars ever since Shrek 2, I believe, the Oscars have nominated Puss in Boots.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Now, there's something interesting we have going on. As listeners may recall, my Oscar theme was taken down. You know, last time we tried to use it, there was a moment of silence for that. That great theme is no longer with us. But I took the liberty of finding 2 others, so we can try them both and see what we like.
All right.
These are
see what we like, gang. These are potential Oscar themes. We're going to need your votes after the show in the Discord, as well as on Twitter.
Sure. This is the first. These are both official Oscar themes with ads. Oh, no.
Ooh, yeah.
It's like the first. It's like the original. Okay, so that's number one. That's very much like the original we had. Now here's something also. This was specifically written at the 78th Annual Academy Awards.
Wow.
Yeah, I do my research.
Real players know GoldenNuggetCasino.com has more of your favorite slots, like Infinity Reels, where each win adds an extra.
Great casino. Yeah.
I don't think we can top that.
Like I said, it was specifically for a ceremony. There's visuals. You got Dorothy saying some lines.
And
you
Dustin
got
Hoffman. Listen, and that's movies as far as I'm concerned. I'm walking here. Dorothy, we're not in Kansas anymore. Don't even worry about it. That's movies.
Movies. Yeah, it's a little more, got a little magical opening. So you voters take your choice. So, I don't know, that might be not a close vote.
No, I think, I mean, if I had to predict, I would say that the latter has it.
Yeah, pretty good
But we'll
stuff.
see what happens. Hey, this is an interesting year because, you know, when we did Shrek 4, it lost pretty much everything to Toy Story 3. When we did Shrek 3, it lost pretty much everything to Ratatouille. This year, award shows were very split on the animated film of the year.
Oh,
So
all right.
let's find out. The Oscars nominated Puss in Boots for the best animated film of the year, but it lost to Gore Verbinski's Rango, starring
Johnny
Johnny
Depp.
Depp as a gecko.
Not nearly as funny as the Geico commercials, so it already loses there.
I remember that was an option to see, Henry, the day that we went to go see Dinner with Schmucks.
Rango was?
Yes.
Yeah, I would imagine I was probably... You would have probably... What did you err towards? Were
I think Dinner with Schmucks.
Yeah. I'm sure I would have been opposed to Rango. Did you ever remember, by the way, the movie that we were really, really wanting to see, the three of us, and couldn't get in? I'll never remember for the rest of my life. There was a serious movie we really were dying to see, and it was sold out, and we couldn't sneak in. You don't remember?
The Soloist.
Yeah. 2011. I'm going to look through all 11,000 movies that came out that year to find that out.
Well, you could look around the time that Dinner with Schmucks was out. What was in theaters?
That would be easier. That would be an easier thing. Yeah.
Golden Globes also nominated Puss in Boots for their Best Animated Feature Award, and which is interesting. We didn't see the Golden Globes too much in Shrek.
No, we didn't hear from them at all.
No, but Puss in Boots, that's more international flavor, as you know.
That's right. Based on, I believe I looked this up. I was curious. A 16th century Italian fairy tale that was then molded around Europe and became.
Well, yeah, I bet they heard it growing up in France.
Yeah, and Spain.
Yeah, but mostly France.
I see what you did there. Well, let's see what happens.
It's the GGs, the Golden Globes. It's the Hollywood Foreign Press, mostly French.
Right.
Yeah, see now they nominated it, but it lost to This is perfect. Think of what would the Golden Globes give the Best Animated Feature to? That's right. Tintin, baby! Steven Spielberg's adaptation of Hervé's Tintin.
Ah, there you go. There you go. Oui. Yeah.
Hervé?
Je ne sais quoi.
Is Hervé the creator of Tintin, or is it that dwarf?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Isn't there that French dwarf, Hervé? Hervé Villachet.
Oh, yeah. He has the
Oh yeah, from he's Tattoo, and he was in Man with the Golden Gun.
right, and I guess he does. He is. Is he French? Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah, crossing boundaries.
Crossing boundaries, Henry. How about those Saturn Awards?
Wow. All right.
Saturn is between Uranus and Neptune. Saturn, whoa, sci-fi best of films.
Hey, they went Puss in Boots.
Those guys have some strange ears.
Yeah.
There's a lot of drugs going on at the Saturn Awards Committee. That's what's happening
I don't
there.
know, maybe anti-anxiety medication.
Do you have another Xanax, that white thing?
Yeah, because honestly, I don't know what. Sometimes they're so on and into it, and other times it seems like they've checked out.
Like when Rebecca Romijn won Best Actress for the first X-Men movie.
No, that makes perfect sense
Yeah.
for them. Yeah.
All right, how about the Kids' Choice Awards?
All right. You want it. You got it. You got it.
I mean, I don't really, but I'm asking for it.
There it is. All right.
It's the Kids' Choice Awards. It's KCA to you, but it's the kids making the choice, yeah.
The kids chose Puss in Boots.
Well, it's a fun little, innocent little movie.
Antonio Banderas was also nominated for the Best Voice Acting of the Year at the Kids' Choice Awards, but lost to Katy Perry in the Smurfs movie.
Ooh. All right. Well,
She plays the Smurfette.
really?
Yeah, that's right. The one
That's
female
odd.
Smurf. Teen Choice.
It's the teen choice award.
Salma Hayek. I mean, this is such a weird award show. They don't really have animated categories because they're teens, I guess. They're too cool for
Oh,
that.
yeah.
So they nominated Salma Hayek for Best Actress in an Action Movie.
There's a lot of action scenes she's in.
Yeah, for her
Age
vocal
one.
performance here in Puss in Boots. But she lost to Zoe Saldana for Colombiana. Remember that movie?
Yeah, I do. Okay. There's some action in that, too, I think. It's probably a little more on the violent side.
Probably. Yeah, so Puss in Boots is a franchise in and of itself. There's also an animated series on Netflix. It's run for 6 seasons, 78 episodes.
Wow.
I know. We didn't watch it, but we're here to talk about the movie. So let's get into it. Were you excited about the Puss in Boots film?
I was very excited. Honestly, no. But it was a nice change from Shrek at the thought of it. I was curious. So what can we do with this character? Hopefully, he'll be a little bit more developed. I wondered what fairy tales we'd see. I saw Zach Galifianakis was in it, and I was curious about that.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was right there with you. Like, I guess if you're going to spin off one of the characters, do this. One thing that bothered me, though, is I know this movie was made simultaneously with the 4th Shrek movie, which was, like, wrapping up the franchise or whatever. And so, like, they didn't really have any directive on what was going on in that movie, so they had to just make this movie totally off to the side. So, like, that's always, to me, a handicap for a spin-off movie, when you're spinning off a character and you have no ability to interact with the main text at all.
Yeah, I thought that at some point some aspect of the Shrek story would intertwine, but I actually didn't mind because I honestly didn't. I was impressed that, well, quite frankly, they didn't need Shrek. I mean, he didn't even come up. He wasn't even mentioned.
Well, it's a prequel, isn't it? Doesn't this take place
I
before
imagine
you meet Shrek?
I imagine it is. It's not really, I don't believe, explicitly stated. I mean, because I also thought maybe it could have taken place after all of those events, but that wouldn't have made too much sense.
No, I think it's like a Temple of Doom. I think you're right. I think this is pre-Shrek, and I mean, but on the one hand, you got to say they didn't rely on like Shrek as any kind of crutch. They didn't use it at all. I'm not saying that it needed to be a crutch, but I'm saying it needed to take place recognizably in the same universe, and I'm not sure that it does.
No, I'm not sure that it doesn't. I mean, it
like,
really doesn't.
Where is this weird Spain section of the Land of Far, Far Away?
Well, the Land of Far, Far Away is its own thing, so this presumably is not in the same realm. If it's the realm. Are we in realms?
It has to be in the same realm. What, you think they're traveling through a black hole between realms?
No, but I can imagine that Far, Far Away might be somewhere in northern England, and maybe we're in Spain.
I assumed Hollywood, since it has those Hollywood letters.
Yes,
and
good
like
point.
Disney World is there.
I assumed England because, Shrek is Scottish, clearly, with that brogue.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's an immigrant. I didn't feel like it. So
no, he's not a super adventurous guy. That brings to mind something else. How does he have that Scottish accent? Nobody else does.
I've always wondered that, of course, especially in Forever After when you meet all the other ogres. I don't recall any of them having any sort of...
Yeah, Scottish does not equal ogre.
Right, yeah. It'd be great if they pulled the wool off and just Shrek was just kind of playing everybody and just liked talking in a Scottish accent, much like Mike Myers.
Well, I mean, that's really why Shrek has a Scottish accent, because Mike Myers cannot stop doing a Scottish accent.
He loves it.
But we're talking about Puss in Boots here,
yeah,
Henry.
It's due.
I gotta give the opening its due, because for me, I have not been to a movie theater in the past year, And I've been doing this show, We Love Kids Movies, with Shut Up Tim. I watch all these animated movies, and so many of them just seem to fit right at home on my television screen. I'm never thinking about the fact that I'm watching them at home, because it seems like every one of them were just designed to be bought by parents so they can stick their fucking kids in front of for 90 minutes. And
yeah, it's the babysitter.
Yeah. And so, creating a new generation of latchkey kids. And this movie, I will say, has some atmosphere. This felt specifically like a theatrical release to me.
I get it, especially like the Beanstalk episode when it goes up into the sky. I mean, there's a lot of visuals in here that are more anamorphic and anthropomorphic. There's a lot of nighttime stuff. We change I could be wrong, but Shrek almost always feels like it's taking place during the day. So you get to see some nighttime stuff here. You get to see some different architecture. We're leaving a habitat of pure fairy tales. We seem to be in a human. Well, we are in a human area of Madrid. I don't know.
But I don't understand the human area. What's going on in the beginning of the movie when he goes into an Old West saloon or something, and he tries to sidle up to the bar and get some milk.
Yeah.
And the dudes in there are ripping on him, but then he's like, "I am a cat, and I'm also wanted by the police," and and then they're all scared of him all of a sudden.
Well, I think there's some prejudice going on there from the local people. Again, it's almost like this. It reminded me very strongly of the scene in Easy Rider. When Jack and Peter Fonda go into the bar of rednecks, the diner scene, and that's what it really recalled to me. And when Puss goes in there, it's kind of like he's the outcast. He's being prejudiced against because he's a cat. I don't think these are cat people, but as soon as he shows his prowess with the sword by cutting off that guy's half mustache, respect is given.
Yeah, they do seem to respect violence in
Yeah.
in the Old
Yeah.
West or wherever we are.
Yeah, yeah, and I actually thought it's cute that, like, this movie doesn't acknowledge in any way, which is also rather odd, that animals talk. Like, remember in Shrek, it's a big fucking deal that Donkey talks, but in this one, like, Puss is dropped off at an orphanage for presumably humans, but really just anyone. He and then he's in the bar, he talks. So there's no acknowledgement in this movie of when animals speak, like it's an accepted thing, which makes me think they might be in a different part of, like I said, the realm that we're speaking of.
Or we're watching a franchise that couldn't possibly give two fucks about continuity.
Yeah, that too. That as well. Yeah.
I mean, which is fine. Like, I'm not saying, like, be beholden to continuity, only use Shrek characters, like, but, like...
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they didn't. I didn't mind it at all.
But it's a spin-off. It has to recognizably take place in the same universe. That's all I'm saying, man.
But I guess for me, it's just like, when it came out, everybody knew what it was, so I guess there was no need maybe at the time. Everybody knew, but, yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, I guess I don't know what... Also, I don't know what's at play there. Or do you think there was some... you think Myers had anything to do with that? Or like,
no, I think it's because they were making it the same time as the fourth one, man. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
So they couldn't do anything. They were handcuffed.
Yeah, I mean, Myers could have taken like 40 minutes out of his schedule and recorded some dialogue for it or something. I mean...
Forget Myers. Why couldn't they use, like... Don't like the fucking directors of these Shrek movies do like half the voices?
Yes, they do. That's a good point. Yeah, Chris Miller.
Yeah, and they're all horribly untalented.
And since we don't ever recognize any of the voice cameos, it really wouldn't have mattered. Could have had Chris Miller come in and do Shrek's voice.
Yeah, why not?
Or Don.
Honestly. Or like the dudes in the musical.
Yeah. Yeah, they
sound exactly like the characters from the movies.
They really do. They really do. Yeah.
Let's talk about the new characters, because I felt like that was maybe the biggest failing of the Puss in Boots movie. Because we're not allowed to use Shrek characters, we have to invent characters, all well and good. But were any of these characters engaging to you?
I wanted them to be. I
felt like a couple of them were good in theory.
Yes, very much so. I mean, I liked the introduction of Kitty Softpaws. I was fooled. I didn't know it was a girl. She's introduced as a cat burglar, and she's wearing a mask. And Puss is trying to get the beans from Jack and Jill, played by Billy Bob Thornton and Amy Sedaris.
Polar.
No.
Really?
Pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah. I know you want Amy Poehler to be in everything, but...
No, I don't, but she was in the last thing, and I think I thought that she was in this, too.
Yeah. And Puss is foiled by this cat burglar, who then he follows back to the lair of all these cats. I like that scene a lot. I think I was predisposed to like this movie. I just really like cats. So I thought it was very cute when they're playing guitars and playing the cowbells and they have a little dance-off. Cats are usually shit on in movies. They're always the bad guys. You know, dogs are always the heroes. It was nice to see cats be the focus. Nary a dog in this movie.
Good, you can keep them. I love cats, but I will say I don't really need them to be anthropomorphized. Like, I like to watch cats doing cat stuff. I don't want to watch them playing the guitar or fencing.
Well, we were in that universe, so I just kind of let myself go. Yeah, I mean, but there's a funny thing. I thought there were a couple funny cat touches. Doesn't Kitty Softpaws start to lure Puss by all of a sudden distracting with a light on the ground, and he starts chasing it? Chuckle?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Chuckle.
You chuckled at that?
Yeah, it was a chuckle. Yeah, made me smile.
What about Galifianakis, man, as Humpty Dumpty, who is, he makes a heel turn in this movie. He's set up as an old friend of Puss in Boots, an old partner, a business partner, who he's known since he was but a young child cat. We learn in long unnecessary flashbacks.
Very long.
And then he makes a heel turn. Turns out he's jealous of Puss in Boots, and he's an asshole. And I just kept waiting for Zach Galifianakis to, like, do something.
To
like,
be more that Zach, a little Zach?
I guess so, because, like, the performance when he's supposed to be a good egg, it is so just generic. It could have been anybody. So, like, almost to the point where I was like, oh, then there must be a heel turn at some point, and then all of a sudden he's gonna, like, be, like, weird, and I'm looking forward to that. And then it never really happened. It's such a weirdly subdued performance.
I agree. I agree with you on that 100%. Because Humpty Dumpty, I think it was a lot of potential there for that big embryo. And
that said, it mystifies me that Humpty Dumpty is an egg.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, how does he get through life? How does he...
No, I'm just saying, like, in that nursery rhyme, it never says he's an egg. That's just something we've decided as a culture.
That's true. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. He looks like an egg. But I remember when I was a little kid, I've seen depictions of him where he doesn't quite look like an egg. He's just like a big round fella. Yeah.
I've always seen it as an egg with legs.
And I did wonder during the movie, which probably doesn't speak well to the movie's grip on me, but is he hard-boiled or is he raw? So, like, if he cracks, like, what happens?
No, I assume that he has the ability to crack.
No, right, but, like, if he cracked, does a yolk spill out, or is he hard-boiled underneath that shell?
I would think a yolk would spill out.
Yeah, it's a good question, though, isn't it?
Great, yeah. You want to do your thesis on, like, the innards of Humpty Dumpty?
Because I feel like if he cracked and he was hard-boiled, he'd survive.
Do you think, like, if you... Okay, say you're born, right? You, like, squirt out of your mom's pussy, and then, like, you take a look at yourself and you're like, oh my god, I'm a giant egg. You think the smart thing to do in that situation is to hard-boil yourself?
Boy, is that a good question. Yeah, you'd want to think about the future.
Because people would do that, you know, in, like, high school, when, like, you'd have that project where you have to carry around an egg like it's your baby. You know what I'm talking about?
I didn't do that project. Okay, yeah, I believe it, though.
It's a real thing, though, and, yeah, I know a lot of people would hard-boil the egg. I saw it done by Xander on an episode of Buffy as well.
Oh, okay. All right. Sure. But yeah,
episode 12, no big deal. Go ahead.
The thing is that I agree with you. If you're going to use Zach, I thought maybe we'd have a reason for Zach, and then there was already a heel turn, sort of, and then in the beginning, because they already established that they have some tension, and he's already kind of a shady character, and then to have him do I considered another heel turn at the end. I really didn't care for that, and especially if you're not going to utilize Galifianakis' his voice or any of his mannerisms or quirks in any way. It was very odd. I didn't care. I didn't care for it. I felt like it could have been done better.
This is just pure DreamWorks. Hangover came out 2 years ago, and so we're going to cast the star.
Yeah.
If this movie came out 2 years later, Humpty Dumpty would have been Melissa McCarthy.
Great point. Yeah. Wow.
And she would have been subdued. That would have been annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. She'd have been falling all over the place and cracking and yelling.
You'd be finding out what's inside of that egg.
Right
Farts,
away.
I bet.
Right.
You think Humpty Dumpty's farts smell like eggs?
I imagine they're rotten. It's probably like, when you're on the highway and you can smell the sewer.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, I guess.
Yeah, that sewer smell. Yeah. I liked, though, Kitty Softpaws. I thought it was tragic that she was declawed. I thought that was sad. I like the Jack and the Beanstalk idea. They made Jack and Jill into sort of
grotesqueries.
Yeah, and there's a big. You mentioned Indiana Jones earlier. There's a big chase on a mountain. You didn't like that.
Worst part of the movie. Keep your action out of my animated movies. I mean, I shouldn't say that because, like,
I know what you mean, but I didn't mind this one.
I mean, this is just, it's just not entertaining to me. Like,
yeah.
Animation is great because it is a space where you can do almost anything you put your mind to. And we have reached a point with animation where we can do action really well. I mean, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I thought was like the best action sequences I've ever seen in a superhero movie.
Oh, wow.
Like,
all right.
That's how you do it, man.
Okay.
So, like, I'm watching this, and it's just like, I don't know what they're trying to do. Because most of them are comedies. Like, those Shrek movies, they're just comedies, and so when there's an action sequence, I'm like, oh, this is extraneous because it's a comedy. But this movie's kind of trying to be an action movie.
There's a lot of it.
Laughs.
Yeah, there's a lot of action because it's not just that coach scene on the mountain. I mean, really the entire beanstalk sequence, which is probably 20, 25 minutes. It's a huge portion of the movie once they get up there in the clouds.
It's way too long, especially considering once they're up there in the fucking clouds, it affects their voices. Like, they speak like they're... Yeah. Which is like a funny gag for a second, but then they're like talking a bit like that for like 25 minutes.
I was really worried. Like, I was like, we're going to get out of this gag, right? They're going to figure something out. And I swear to God, I'm not lying. I thought... I had a quick thought in my head. I was like, maybe when they get into the castle, they'll do some like, oh, it's depressurized joke. Totally did it.
They did do that?
Yeah. They get in there and they're like, oh, you sound normal again. They're like, oh, this is a pressurized. I was like, okay.
Yeah, sure. What's up with early aughts Hollywood's obsession with Jack and the Beanstalk?
Oh, yeah. You got Jack the Giant Slayer, right?
Yeah.
What else you got?
Just those two, but still.
Two can make an obsession. Yeah. I didn't.
It just seems weird. Like, was anybody clamoring for Jack and the Beanstalk adaptations?
Yeah, I don't know. It's not a bad story. I mean, you could do some stuff with that. You saw the Giant Slayer, right? I did not.
Yeah, I saw. He slayed that giant.
Did he? Yeah. Oh, that's good.
He got up there, all the way up there. I remember there was like a military in that movie where it's like, we've got to climb the beanstalk with guns and shit.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they don't do that here. They just use leaves as parachutes and clouds as floors.
Endless.
Yeah, and Puss is like wanted for the whole movie by the town and for a crime that basically Humpty makes him do. Oh, we meet the original Jack in prison. That was handled clumsily and not interesting.
I don't remember that. Who was he?
The guy with the long beard who's like senile and keeps falling asleep. He's in chains.
Oh, yeah. I might have giggled at that a couple of times.
Yeah, Puss keeps waking him up and all that. There's a lot going on here. You can see we're really interested in the plot. Yeah.
What, you got more to say? By the way, that character's name was Andy Beanstalk, which I thought was like the dumbest thing in the world.
Oh, right. Andy, right.
And was, of course, voiced by the director of Shrek 4 for no reason.
Yeah. I mean, I would...
There's another character in this movie voiced by Guillermo del Toro. Did you notice Guillermo del Toro has a fucking producer credit on this piece of shit?
Who did he voice?
It says, according to IMDb, Comandante and Mustache Man.
I gotta say, man, this is the fifth one that we've watched in this whole enterprise, and boy, they're just not nailing these little these voice cameos. I mean, it really makes you think of Toy Story and all these other Pixar movies where you instantly know who it is, and that can't just be because they're more famous celebrities, because they're not. always. It's just what they must write for the people to do, or they give them 2 seconds of dialogue, right? I mean, I haven't recognized like a single. I didn't even recognize Eric Idle. Like I knew it was a Monty Python guy, but I didn't remember which. I didn't know which one. I mean, it's so weird how these movies do that with these voice cameos. I've never really seen anything like that.
This film is dreary. This is a dull, creativity-less, just filler.
I didn't mind it as I had an okay time.
I think it's well animated. It looks, I think, the best of any of the Shrek movies, maybe. And part of that is just Puss in Boots is an easier thing to animate, I think, than Shrek, because Shrek is a humanoid, and it
was also just more pleasant to look at like a cat character than fucking Shrek.
I guess, but I just didn't care. The Shrek character, like, you watch that first movie, and that invests you enough in what's going to go on to the characters, where the sequels, like, you're kind of just sitting through them to get through them, but, like, at least, like, you care a little bit.
Yeah.
In this movie, we're watching, like, the 5th most important member of the Shrek cast just, like, wandering around through this plot you couldn't possibly give a shit about with, like, some random villain with, like, a totally anonymous voice performance going heel turning and face turning and heel turning back. I mean, who could care? And, I mean, Salma Hayek continues Shrek's interest in strong women, but also its interest in only having the women have that one trait as strong woman. This is what we're doing. Like, yeah, they let Fiona have some action shit in the last movie, and now we get this Salma Hayek character, but, like, they're just totally underdeveloped characters. Like, Shrek and Donkey were always characters with, like, motivations and interests, and these women, they're like, hey, they can take care of themselves, and that's all you need to know.
Yeah, that's kind of a long running trend that's still going on in movies. I guess for me, you see, I think a big thing is at play here, though, my friend. You watch, in general, and because of your show with Tim, you watch a lot of kids movies. So, I, as everyone knows, I do not, and so I go into a lot of these with extraordinarily low expectations, sometimes with apprehension and fear of boredom, and so when I come into them and they just are kind of milquetoast, I'm fine. Like, I'm fine. It's not Toy Story 3, which was like a masterpiece and scarred me and disturbed me and reached me on many levels, but it's a milquetoast movie, but I did not find this movie to be like, when I think of like a really bad animated movie that really made me cringe, I think of like Aladdin, Jafar.
I don't
like
think of this as being a really bad movie. We did this movie Free Birds for Thanksgiving on the We Love Kids Movies feed, and that was a bad movie. Like, that was hard for me to get through. It was annoying.
That's what I mean.
This,
yeah.
I certainly don't feel this way about Puss in Boots. I just, when it comes to, like, a kid's cartoon that, like, I don't have interest in, like, Pixar, like, I'm going in thinking, like, well, it's Pixar. All right, I'm laser focused on this. But with this, like, I just need to be compelled somewhat. And, like, the Shrek Forever After, to me, is a great example of that. Like, that is a total, that's a cash grab, that movie. Like, there's no thought put into it at all or creativity, but they managed to put together a movie that will carry me through 90 minutes. Like, I'll be interested all the way through. Whereas, Puss in Boots just doesn't do that. Like, Puss in Boots is not a bad movie. Puss in Boots is an extremely dull movie.
Yeah, for me, I enjoyed this more than I did, but this is going to be heresy, I'm sure, than Shrek 2 and 3.
I agree.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I thought those were fucking horrible. Dude.
Well, not heresy to you. I know. Yeah. I mean, this was on par with 4 Forever After. I didn't
This is, to me, middle of the pack, baby. Like, this is absolutely better than Shrek 2 and the third. And
Agreed.
Absolutely worse than the first one and Forever After.
I'm not sure about the... Yeah, I mean, Forever After, I'm leaning towards possibly being the best one so far. Oh, that didn't occur to me. We're ranking this week, aren't we?
Yeah.
Better get those done. Yeah. Yeah, I thought Puss in Boots was fine.
What do you give it?
3.
It's a 2. Who's your MVP?
My MVP is... Sorry, I have this actually in my Samsung notes. In orange letters. Which I thought was a cute touch for me.
Great.
Puss. I thought Antonio Banderas was pretty decent lead, which I wasn't sure would happen based on Shrek, and I thought he was good. He was given a lot of dialogue, and he's decent. He's my MVP. My LVP is Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Salma Hayek as my MVP. Not the character, the vocal performance. But LVP is the villain. Yeah, Galifianakis.
Yeah. That was just disappointing. There could have been something there, and there simply wasn't. Yeah.
Do you think Tim and Eric gave Zach shit for being in a Shrek movie?
I don't know. I wondered that. Because this was made after all those promos. Who knows? I'm sure privately they did.
Yeah.
I'm sure. But maybe they laid off of Puss in Boots out of courtesy for their buddy. I don't know.
Possibly.
Yeah.
All right. You ready to do the musical?
I've never been more ready. We got new themes too.
You really do. So.
Oh, I meant we've never heard ever.
I know.
One of these things. Okay. Yeah.
It's the only theme you need, man. So,
it is? Okay.
Yeah, Shrek the Musical we're talking about. Now, we would not have covered this under normal circumstances, but Tim, who paid for this franchise, expressly asked us to cover Shrek the Musical. That was a Broadway musical. It was on Broadway from 2008 to 2010, it looks like. December 2008 to January 2010, it should be noted.
Right, that's important.
Yeah,
because
so it sounds like it was on for like 3 years, but it was 1 year.
I read that too, and I had to I had to reread it, because I was like, no fucking way was that on it, yeah. But it was all over the world, correct?
It's gone on some tours, yeah.
Yeah. In a bus.
So this is music by Janine Tesori, who is a pretty major Broadway composer, worked on Fun Home and Thoroughly Modern Millie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then lyrics and book by David Lindsay Abaire, who, of course, won the Pulitzer Prize for Drama in 2007 for writing the play Rabbit Hole.
Are you serious?
Yes.
The one they made the movie on with Nicole Kidman and Aaron Eckhart?
Yeah, man. They could just pay these geniuses to work on their dumb shit.
Wow. Well, I get it. A lot of guys, they need the money. They're artists. They need the money. They're just like, fuck it. I'm sure Rabbit Hole didn't give them much, and the Pulitzer money isn't that much.
No. So they're like, hey, you want to write the Shrek musical?
It's like, yeah, fine. Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't do much. He wrote, like, the lyric and book, and, like, a lot of the book is just taken from the first movie.
Right. Well, I hope that he got a nice back end on those ticket sales, because even though it only ran for a year, those tickets were like $1,000.
You want to hear a nice back end?
That was a better accent than the guy who played him.
I gotta be honest, that is a bad Scottish accent. It is shocking to me that he got that role with that accent.
It's unreal.
You can tell it. Look, he can sing, right? Like, that's why he's cast.
Yeah, right. But also I thought the most embarrassed. Well, we're not quite there yet.
We'll get to the cast. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So this film. This
Sure.
play which can now be seen on Netflix. So please shut off this podcast right now and go watch that. Was nominated for many Tony Awards.
All right, everybody, the world premiere on the franchise of the Tony Awards theme. This one I commissioned out to a guy. I figured it was special enough for that. Okay, here we go.
Tony? Yeah? No, not you, phony. Tony? Yeah? Macaroni? No, Tony. Yeah, Tony. Like the band? No, Tony Macaroni. It's Tony Awards that I'm looking for. I'm looking for Tony Awards, not the phony or macaroni. I found Tony.
Yeah. He, the guy I read to, it's like a musical. I see what he was going for. He's like doing kind of the call and response of what happens on stage, and then the break into song in a more subtle way.
So he's trying to find his way to the Tony Awards, but first he mistakenly tries to go to the Macaroni Awards and the Phony Awards.
Yeah, it's like, in Broadway there's lots of mix-ups on stage. Are you Tony? No, you're phony. A lot of overacting type of thing.
Or is it possible the person who wrote that theme said Tony and then didn't have a next line? He was holding his phone in his hand, and so he said something about phony.
I honestly have to be quite frank. What I heard was, I wish what you just said was true, but it probably speaks to the fact that I think the guy that wrote this does better when he improvises and actually doesn't think through lyrics a day and a half before, because that's what I was told this person did. He actually thought of the words phony and macaroni as characters in the musical that would be a call and response. So, yeah, this was a thought out theme, believe it or not. Yeah.
All right, great. Well, talking about the Tony Awards today, I usually don't pay attention to them because obviously stage musicals are an elitist piece of shit monolith who should have died out with Shakespeare. But
you like musicals.
I don't think stage plays, shut it down. Shut Broadway down.
Oh.
And
you're more into, like, movies.
The one thing COVID has done well. Stopped Broadway at the root.
I'm not going to argue with that. But what do you like then? You prefer, like, filmed movie?
Yeah. I like musicals, all right. And I even like going to plays and stuff. But here's my problem. Is Broadway musicals, they cost you $200.
Yeah.
You go to a Broadway musical, you get one ticket and maybe a beer. All right?
Maybe. Yeah.
One beer. That's going to cost you $200. All right? And so I think that, like, Broadway is a 1% thing. I think it's just elitist pieces of shit who think they know what art is going to see these horrible intellectual property musicals and shitty jukebox musicals, and then they're selling tickets to poor fucking tourists who don't know better.
So fucking well put. I mean, that is absolutely reality. I didn't know if you were going to mention at the end, but you did. Yeah. I mean, it's the people who are like, oh, we're going to see Wicked this weekend. And we're driving like 200 miles. It's just like, oh man, what a fucking sap. I always think that. Mm-hmm. I just feel bad for those people. It's like they're just kind of like uncultured. It's so sad. I even to take your kids. I mean, I don't know, man. I've seen some productions in my time, but it is amazing. And I have to say, I also got a sort of insider view of this that was nauseating. As you know, I was an usher at the Symphony, my first job out of high school, and unfortunately at the Symphony, when they weren't doing Mahler, they were doing Broadway productions that would come into town, and I saw tons of shows, and I had to see them multiple times. The worst being Rent. But the crowds.
Would you light my candle?
Yeah, that was a rough one. But the crowds that came to those two, I mean, even in Pittsburgh, were, I mean, just, I don't want to say dumb, but I'm going to.
But it's not their fault. To me,
I agree.
like,
I
they're
agree.
being gouged. Like, dumb
I
people
agree.
should be able to see Wicked any fucking time they want to.
Yes,
but
true.
it shouldn't be, like, half their fucking savings. I mean, like, they're giving people
Hamilton.
$600 stimulus checks? Great. That'll take your family to see Phantom of the Opera once.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, honestly, we got to spend a set, no more than 5 seconds, because I don't want to, on the latest example of that being Hamilton, which people think is educating them. They get to say they went to see something about American history. Oh, they learned a lot, and then they sat through this fucking nonsense garbage with horrible music, and
they get to feel cool because they think that's hip hop too.
They really do. It's excellent. It's excellent rap music.
Not gonna miss my shot. Not gonna miss my shot. All right, so the Tonys. We haven't touched the Tonys before. Let's see how they did in the year 2000 and whatever this was. Shrek was nominated for the Best Musical of the Year, Henry.
Of course.
Lost to the Billy Elliot musical.
I bet that wasn't painful.
Based on the 2001 boy ballet dancing film.
And I never saw that movie.
Really?
I remember it being huge. I just
it was
didn't.
so huge. Yeah, I'm
I had
shocked
no
you haven't
interest.
seen that.
I had no interest.
Me neither, but I saw it. It was fucking Billy Elliot.
Yeah.
It was like around that time, once a year, you had to like eat shit and go see some dumb British movie that'll make you happy.
You're right. Full Monty. That was a big...
Waking Ned Devine one year.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
fucking. Wait, what were we just talking about? Bend It Like Beckham was one.
Yeah, I saw everything you've mentioned.
Yeah.
I did not like Bennett like Beckham at all.
No, it was a piece of
Either.
shit.
Yeah, terrible.
It's just a movie about a soccer coach scamming his students. All right, Brian Darcy James, who played Shrek in this play. I was, of course, familiar with him from the NBC show about Broadway musicals called Smash.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He played the titular Smash. No, he played it was Deborah Messing was in that, and he played her husband. Okay, and I don't know why they cast him, because he's like, seems like all he knows how to do is sing, but it wasn't a singing role on that show. And I remember the one storyline that I really enjoyed was that they were going to adopt a foreign baby, and they had one older son, and then they decided not to adopt the foreign baby because it was going to take up too much time that they needed to devote to their Broadway play about Marilyn Monroe called Bombshell. And so I remember the kid ran away, their teenage son. He was so upset that he wasn't getting an adopted sister, that he ran away from home.
That sounds like a great show.
It was great.
Yeah, I believe it.
I know. All right, so Brian Darcy James was nominated for Best Musical Actor, and he lost to, I don't even know how this works, but the three guys who played Billy Elliot at different ages in Billy Elliot.
Wow, what a loaded award ceremony that is. Imagine if they did that at the Oscars.
Yeah,
for
right.
movies where you're depicted at different ages.
That would be amazing.
So, like, Brad Pitt would lose in Benjamin Button to, like, the baby or his younger...
No, I think they would include it in the nomination. Like, they were all nominated together. So it would be like, and the winner is Brad Pitt and this baby.
Oh, like a joint. Yeah. No, that's great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he lost to the Billy Elliot Kids. Then we have Sutton Foster, who played Fiona. Of course, one of my biggest celebrity crushes, because she was the lead in Amy Sherman Palladino, the creator of Gilmore Girls, follow-up to Gilmore Girls, Bunheads.
Oh.
Loving every second of that.
I'll say right off.
My parents watch her in the Freeform show, Younger.
Okay. Directed by Ben Younger?
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I will say she is one of the, well, no, not one of the only person in this atrocity that can act.
I
and
know.
sing.
It's true. Anytime she was like off screen or off stage, I guess, I was, you know, Tim gave us license to skip around. I didn't do it that much, but once she was introduced, when we were like doing a scene that she wasn't in, I'm like out on this play.
Yeah, it was. That was rough. I mean, there were a lot of terrible offenders in this. Some can't help themselves. They're Broadway stars. They're built with a built-in spotlight that just shines.
Yeah, I know. It's like go ahead. I'll tell you the story.
The worst offender to me was Donkey.
Donkey was obnoxious.
Oh my God! I mean,
he was not nominated for a Tony. I'm happy to say.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. He was really, really awful. The worst part, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. He absolutely was. It really makes you appreciate Eddie Murphy.
It really does. Honestly, like Eddie Murphy going through the motions is so much more interesting than whatever this fool was doing.
It's awful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's painfully cringy and kind of represents everything I despise about sitting through a Broadway show.
Yeah, he reminded me. I won't say his name. His first name was Josh. His last name started with a B, Henry. We knew him, and I remember he was a nice guy. He was an actor, tall, gay, bald man, and I remember.
Oh yeah.
One day he comes into the break room at Barnes and Noble, and he was talking to me, and he seemed just like upset about something. So I was asking him, and he was like, "I'm really concerned that I can't pass for straight." and like,
how do you respond to that?
I
what a position to be put in.
Like, my first instinct was like, no, you probably can't because you're incredibly gay, like deeply gay, you know. And like, maybe you're a good actor, like maybe you are, but there are some good actors that that are gay. They're just gay guys. And so, I think I asked him to like read a monologue or something, and I was like, "Oh, you sounded great."
Yeah, that was very nice of you. Yeah. This is unfortunately one of those situations, I think, where it's a little just jarring, you know. It's just weird. It's an odd thing, and yeah, I know it's so awkward to talk about, but trying not to tread wrong. It's tough. I mean, that's not the only problem with Donkey, but like that's but it's so Broadway.
All right, so we've got
Broadway. Shrek is too. The Brian Darcy. He's just like this fucking hulking, ugly fucking idiot who can't sing or act or move or it's just, I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, get us out of it.
So Sutton Foster was nominated for the Best Actress in a Musical. She lost to Alice Ripley for the play Next to Normal.
Okay.
You familiar with Next to Normal?
Don't know it at all.
Won a Pulitzer Prize.
A lot of Pulitzers going around here.
Hey, giving them out.
I'm actually halfway through a PBS documentary on Joseph Pulitzer, narrated by Adam Driver.
This sounds fucking boring. How is it?
Well, it's a little boring. That's why I've haven't finished it yet. I started it about 4 days ago. Yeah.
Nice.
It's only 90 minutes.
All right, so Ripley, I don't know anything about her, but she won the Tony there. Then we have, I'm so sorry, Henry. Donkey was nominated. Christopher Sieber. That's who he is, right?
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, God. All right. Christopher Sieber. Oh, no, he's Lord Farquaad. He's the villain, all right?
He's bad.
He's pretty bad. He was nominated for Best Featured Musical Actor. That's what supporting actor is in Tony Land.
Okay.
And he lost to the guy who played Billy Elliot's dad in Billy Elliot.
Okay.
All right?
Sure.
They were nominated for Best Book. They lost to Billy Elliot. They were nominated for Best Score. They lost to Next to Normal. Okay? They were nominated for Best Orchestrations, Henry, and they lost in a tie between Billy Elliot and Next to Normal. Seems like those were the only 3 musicals that came out that year.
Yeah. Well, the Tonys are very incestuous, are they not? Like a lot of award shows, but maybe more so. Like they favor their own. Like I don't know how many people are on their committee. I wonder.
I don't know. I feel like they don't even show that many awards on the Tonys. It's just a series of performances.
I've thankfully never had to sit through the Tony Awards. I mean, I think
me? What about when Hugh Jackman hosted for a bunch of years? What
Oh,
about
God.
when Neil Patrick Harris hosted?
Oh boy.
You know, Neil Patrick Harris once came into the break room and was like, "I'm really worried I can't pass for straight." And I was like, "You should read me a monologue."
Was that in between his employment stint at How I Met Your Mother?
I got him that job. At
Gone
with
Girl.
my eyes. Yeah.
That's nice. That's good. That was good of you.
Thanks,
good for
bro.
you. We no joke. You and I probably did help a few actors get hired at Barnes and Noble if they wanted it.
So they would come in and ask for like research materials and shit.
No, I didn't mean that. I meant, well, sure, that we did. I helped fucking Shia LaBeouf research Wall Street 2 Money Never
Oh,
Sleeps.
that's right. I remember that.
Gave him a bunch of DVDs on the stock market. No, I meant like, because we knew a lot. They're not listening. Fuck, do I care? We knew a lot of aspiring
Actors?
stars.
Yeah,
a lot of aspiring stars.
None of them made it.
None of. One kind of made it.
Who? Oh, you're right. One fucking did make it.
Dude,
What's
he
that
made
dude's
it.
name?
Connor
Ratcliffe?
Ratliff.
Yeah. He's a TV actor. I see him all the fucking time.
I knew he was going to make it too. I knew it. I knew it.
didn't.
No, not from because I thought he was.
He has no
that's-
charisma, and he's not funny in person. Sometimes he would try to be, and he would make me laugh. But
Yeah, me too. He didn't have charisma.
It's just
I agree with that.
It's like a guy, one of these dudes who's just not on ever. But
agree.
apparently he could do the job in person.
Well, I remember I was at a party in Queens.
I heard him do George Lucas on Comedy Bang Bang. I was like personally offended. I was like, that's my character.
I know. He gets a lot of mileage out of that. I'm friends with him on Facebook, so I see all this stuff he's doing, and he's a fully employed. He's doing this shit for a living, man.
Yeah,
I remember being at a party with him once, and in Queens, and we were talking for a while, and we loved talking about movies. That was the main thing we talked about, and I did ask him straight up, what are your how are you going about getting to where you want to go and all that kind of stuff, and he did tell me something I'll never forget, and very explicitly made me reflect upon myself and my friends and why we'll never make it big. He said, honestly, man, it just takes a lot of discipline. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. And I don't have any relationship. I devote every single minute of my life to this pursuit.
You could tell that about him.
Yeah, and I was just like, wow.
He spent every night at UCB studying and shit. Yeah.
I just said to him, I was like, I'll never be able to do that, nor would I want to. I was like, but if that's what it takes, good for you. Good luck. I can't do that. And he made it. So There you go. I don't know.
Yeah, Connor, good man. You could check him out in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Search Party, Orange is the New Black. Yeah, he's all over the place.
Is he on IMDb too?
Yeah, I'm on IMDb here.
Jeez, I never looked him up
He
like
has
that.
51 credits.
God damn. First time I saw him on TV was in a Lotto commercial.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, he like went into a bathtub in a suit or something.
Yeah, blew my fucking mind.
Yeah, I know.
I remember being a little angry too. We talked about it.
I think we all were a little jealous at first, and then we were like, he did the work. It's fine. I mostly used to talk to him about Survivor. He was big into Survivor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I will say Shrek the Musical won the Best Musical Costume Design Tony. So this is a Tony Award-winning play.
Jeez. Well, that donkey costume was really impressive.
Maybe we should ask Connor to be on the show. I bet he'd do it.
I'm sure he would.
Yeah. Reach out to him.
I'll think about it. I haven't seen him in 10 years.
Well, you could
I
say
think it'd be a lot.
Saw you on the fucking...
I think it'd be a lot more productive if we were on his show.
Well, but maybe if we invite him on our show, he'll invite us on his show.
Yeah, I mean, he's like...
Maybe I could go on as my Brett Ratner or Zack Snyder characters.
There you go.
All right, Henry, let's get back to Shrek the Musical and stop talking about Mr. Connor Ratliff.
This is like our viewing of Shrek. Somewhat distracted around, yeah.
You know, because it's just... All it is it's a straight up adaptation of the first Shrek movie, but they needed to fill it in the amount of time a Broadway play is. So whereas that first Shrek movie was an hour and 32 minutes or something, this is 2 hours and 10 minutes. So you get like a lot of ridiculously extraneous stuff that's super unnecessary. The play opens with Shrek's parents, which, like, I never needed to see Shrek's parents as long as I lived. And weird Shrek little boy was disgusting.
Really creepy and weird. Really creepy. We should also make clear to people who are never going to watch this, this was a filmed musical. This was not for the screen. This was like they set cameras up in theater. So it's one of those deals.
It's like the fucking Hamilton thing on Disney Plus, except it's Shrek.
Yeah. I'd watch this again before I'd check out Hamilton.
Not me. I've seen them both, and I would watch Hamilton again first. The Shrek, so like you go through the motions, you meet him in the swamp, you know, he farts a few times, he flushes the toilet, you're like, that's hilarious. Then
a lot of kids laughing in the audience, you can hear that. A lot of kids laughing.
Yeah, then they have him walk off stage for no reason whatsoever. I see they had him grab a bucket to like give the sort of to trick you into thinking he was going to do something, but it was just an excuse to get him to leave the stage so that the swamp can be filled up with the fairy tale creatures. And then there's like a 10-minute long song where like all the fairy tale creatures get like one, verse of a song where it's like, "This is me, I'm Pinocchio, I'm a wooden boy. No, wait, I'm not a boy. Look at my nose, here's an effect. Next guy, we're the 3 little pigs. We like things just right. Wait, no, that's the bears." What? That's how it goes. Like 10 minutes of that. It's me, Gingerbread. No, he's not there. He's with Lord Farquaad. We actually get that. We do a scene at Lord Farquaad's palace with the Gingerbread Man doing the Muffin Man thing from the first movie. It is like word for word.
Yeah, it is. And a great special effect. Really funny. Bring the kids, bring the adults. Lord Farquaad's legs, they're fake legs. He's presumably the actor's rolling around on a cart or on his knees, and his legs are coming out of his stomach, dangling there. Lots of laughs.
Yeah, another great effect, by the way, that genuinely looks good the first time you see it is the Gingerbread Man talking with, like, out the aid of a puppeteer. and it's a good optical illusion. But then when the gingerbread man comes back in the final act, there's just a woman holding it. Looked like garbage. And it wasn't even like a ventriloquist. Like
No.
I've never seen someone's gums flapping so hard.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Pinocchio was pretty bad too, and he was one of my favorite characters in the Shrek movies. And boy, they just make him. He's really ugly, and he's like too tall, and it's just awful.
They just
I don't
have
know.
him for that effect. Like, I feel like the Shrek musical was really sidetracked by trying to do like fun, practical stage effects to impress the live audience.
Yeah.
And so like the way they had Pinocchio's nose could like extend in size, so like they don't actually write the character. Like, it's just like every time you see Pinocchio, it's just an excuse to do that illusion.
Yeah. Right. He has a little button in his pocket that he hits, and his nose grows. No, I don't know how they did it. It was mystical. Is what it was.
Mystical.
Yeah. It was really.
Felt
For all
magic to you.
it's unbelievable. I went to the Met twice when I lived in New York. Both times birthday presents. That's right. It's expensive. And the special effects they do in operas are fucking phenomenal. Like, they're unbelievable what they do in operas. And it kind of amazed me that sometimes in Broadway they don't put I don't know if they're not putting the time in or they don't have the money.
I mean, a lot of them look better than this shit, man. I've seen Miss Saigon. They land a fucking helicopter on the stage. It's incredible.
Yeah. No, right.
I mean, and I've seen The Lion King a couple times, that Broadway musical, and it's again the same thing. Like, it's all puppeteers and shit, but it looks like the design of the puppets is really beautiful and complex and interesting. And that they did a really great job with that play, much better than the movie version.
Isn't The Lion King? Wasn't that done by that awesome female director of Titus?
Yeah, Julie Taymor.
She's great, and I mean that's what kind of I like her.
She also directed Across the Universe. Let's not go crazy.
I didn't see that, but she's quite talented.
Did you see that Tempest? She did a version of the Tempest.
Yes, I did.
Is that good?
I liked it. It's not great. I can't remember if I gave it a 2 or a 3, but I mean it was good. It looked incredible. I remember that. I mean, it was amazing looking.
That would be in my top, if not 5. Soon after that, Shakespeare plays.
I never read The Tempest.
Great, I love The Tempest. To be honest, it is heavily referenced in The Sandman by Neil Gaiman, and that's why I read it in the first place. Yeah.
Who cares? Yeah, things like that draw me to works of art like that all the time. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah.
For sure. All right. So, like, he gets his mission from Farquaad. He meets Donkey. It's just this gay black dude yapping, and they do the layers with the onion, and then they
that was like made into like a whole thing.
Yeah. Well, they did a song. Yeah. 10 onions. They have so many layers.
Oh. God, not everything's a song. We can't all be Henry Papali's making themes into a phone.
Hey, can we hear that Tony's theme again?
Yeah, I mean, I like some of my themes. I feel like you need to hear them a couple of times before they grow on you. Maybe this one will not, and we'll probably never hear it again.
I already love it, but I want to hear it again.
Oh, okay.
Tony. Yeah? No, not you, phony. Yeah? Macaroni? No, Tony. Yeah, Tony. Like the band? Tony Macaroni. It's Tony Awards that I'm looking for. I'm looking for Tony Awards. Not the phony or macaroni. I found Tony.
All right. It's amazing.
Thank you.
So they find Sutton Foster. She looks like she's wearing like the cheap fucking Frozen Halloween costume that my sister bought my nieces. The worst red wig you've ever seen in your life. I don't know what they were thinking.
She looks
but they won a Tony for it, so whatever.
She looks like Heath Ledger as the nurse in The Dark Knight.
She does. And I would probably bone either one of them. So they find her. She's like in the tower, and they have a big dragon effect. There's like a big fight with the dragon.
Yeah, that was bad too. I figured that the dragon could have been done at least with some care, but it's not. It's paper mache.
Yeah, I don't know what the thing to do here was. I don't know. This is just so much about spectacle for the live audience that, like, it doesn't add anything. And I wonder if, like, I'd have been more wowed by some of this shit if I was there in person. But, like, as it stands, like, watching it on Netflix, like, this shit looks like garbage.
It's terrible. I mean, I was wondering when I was watching it, it's really like we say, for some of these movies that are tilted for adult, but I mean, this is really just, it's for kids, I was thinking about, like, if I don't want to say any older than 6, I probably would have been chuckling and laughing, a lot. But any older than 6, I don't know that I was going to be finding this amusing. But, you hear the kids laughing throughout the musical.
Yeah, they did the Fiona blowing up the bird again. I thought that was an okay effect. I thought actually Sutton Foster, she was alone on stage at that point. Maybe that was the height of my enjoyment of the play.
Yeah, sure, of course. She's got a presence. She's got, you can cake her with makeup, and that doesn't help, but she's still there.
You have to cake her because just because they're on Broadway, but also they're in fucking Shrek. Although, like, Shrek, the makeup, I don't know. It looks okay, but it's a little... It's just gross, man. He looks like fucking John Merrick.
I'm not an animal. I'm a man.
I'm an ogre. All right, so
I've never been to the opera before.
That's a good John Hurt, man.
Right, that's the when he takes him to see music for the first time.
I love that. Beautiful.
It's amazing. Great movie.
Incredible. Elephant Man.
Great movie.
So
isn't it?
What?
Didn't they make a musical out of that?
Yeah, I think they did.
Or was it Bradley Cooper in a play of the Elephant
that's what it is. The play predates the movie. It was a drama, not a musical.
Okay, right. And then Lynch. Right.
Yeah, Lynch adapted the play, and then Cooper in college was in that play. And it was apparently the greatest inspiration of his life.
Absolutely.
Made it so that he could make a Star is Born adaptation with Lady Gaga.
Absolutely.
All right, so, Shrek and Fiona fall in love. There's one sequence that Tim made us watch where they have a fart battle.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I posted in the Discord a screenshot where the caption said, both farting.
Magical.
Yeah, well, we get some Farquaad scenes where he has baby legs and he's shirtless, which is fucking disgusting. It's pretty much an adaptation of that scene in the first movie where he's jerking off. And
Right.
And then, like, the third act's really fucking boring. There's, like, action sequences that add up to nothing. You get to check in with the fairy tale creatures again. That adds up to nothing. They defeat Farquaad. You get the classic moment, but you are.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
And then they go back to the swamp and they perform I'm a Believer.
Yeah, I had never been looking so forward to the monkeys in my life, because I knew that.
Oh, the monkeys, right?
Because I knew that would be the end. Yeah.
And it was. That was the end of the play, and then everybody came out for their curtain call. Great stuff.
Yeah. Big huzzah.
Yeah, and that's it. That's Shrek the Musical. What do you give this baby?
1.
Yeah. Who's your MVP?
Sutton Foster.
Yeah. Who's your LVP?
Donkey.
Yeah. Daniel Breaker, by the way, one of the worst Daniels I've ever seen. And I can report to you that he is currently playing Aaron Burr in Hamilton.
There you go.
So,
Aaron Burr, famous womanizer and
and duelist.
Yes, Vice President Aaron Burr.
Yeah, he's also in the Book of Mormon. What a Broadway master this fella is.
Well, he's got a career. That's good.
Yeah, he sure does. All right, I mean that's about it. That's fucking Shrek. How do you rank these things?
All right, from worst to best.
I think let's come up with a master list. We'll both have the same list because I think we're on the same page with this franchise.
Ooh.
Best
All right.
one's the fourth one, right?
Oh, yeah. I didn't know whether to put that at 2 or 1. You know, I wasn't sure. It really was the one I enjoyed the most.
Yeah, I say we put that one at number 1.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's
you're
put
right.
Shrek Original at number 2.
That's fine. That's where. Yeah.
Puss
Yeah.
in Boots at number 3.
Yeah, I have it. Yeah, that's
Then
what I have.
Shrek 2.
I have Shrek 3.
You have Shrek 3 above Shrek 2? I disagree with that. All right, we'll part ways there. So you have Shrek 2 in the 4 slot. No, you have Shrek 2 in the 5 slot. Shrek the Third in the 4 slot. I have the reverse there.
Okay. Yeah.
And of course the musical last place.
Absolutely. By a lot. By a landslide. That's a landslide. There's nothing close. I don't want to equivocate here.